Thanks for all that. We started in 2015, so we've been here just over 7 years now, and we've been in this general area. So STAC is based in Leon County, but we serve the 6-county area that's thought of as either DCF Region 2 or the 2nd Judicial Circuit. But Justin, if somebody needs something outside that area and calls us, we either try to directly assist or we connect them with the resources that we have in the area. So that's kind of our technical area. And yeah, so that's when we've been around. We've been doing this work around advocating on behalf of human trafficking survivors, and I mean both survivors of sex and labor trafficking, and doing that, this kind of community education and I hope catalyzing to action work as well. One of the big ones that happened last year was that Leon County government funded STAC to create something called STACpro.org. And STACpro.org is a training for all workplaces, nonprofit spaces, as well as businesses and for-profit businesses. And we've been supported a lot, as you know, many agencies, city and county funding through the pandemic, with funding that's come down from the federal government to the nonprofit sector. That's kept us alive. And it was so important for us because our caseload tripled during the pandemic. You know, this is something that is the only way we can do our work, is when we do it in collaboration and in connection with all levels of government, all levels of, or all agencies, private sector, nonprofit, everybody working together. So it really has been good. I have to say, we have, as you've seen probably from the headlines, there have been major child sex trafficking cases brought to prosecution. There's still the big Operation Stolen Innocence trials that are going on now. You know, that was over a year ago now, a year and a half ago, but because there were over 170 arrests, that case is still being adjudicated. And, you know, that's a reality in our area that really, I think every time there's a case like this, people say, wait a minute, that's going on in Leon County? That's going on in our area? You mean this just isn't happening in Atlanta and Tampa and Miami and Orlando, big cities? And we are, you know, wanting to shout from the rooftops, yes, it is happening here. Also for people to understand that while all of the cases that we've seen here locally have focused on sex trafficking, labor trafficking is a huge problem as well. Half of the people on STAC's caseload are labor trafficking survivors. And so when you think about that, you say, oh, well, what do we need to do? How do we need to understand that this is there? You know, labor trafficking and sex trafficking are very different. You can have, someone can be both sex and labor trafficked. So there's that overlap often, which is another thing people don't realize. But what can we do as a community to be able to recognize and respond, and then wrap services around the survivors so that they can really move from this, horrific victimization to, healing from it, and then getting on with having a happy and successful and productive life. On demand at will, go to STACpro.org. Take the workplace training. You'll be smarter and better for it, I promise. And you'll see how our local community is highlighted as well, with videos from, Kimberly Moore and Sheriff McNeil and Rick Miner and a bunch of other people who are talking about why this issue is important. Oh, sure. And I really have to give kudos to UPHS because when we started STAC, that was my first call to UPHS, and we joined. And UPHS helped us figure out pretty much everything, how to have everything from job descriptions to, financial issues and everything. So just the nuts and bolts. So I've seen that, but I've seen this agency really, really kind of expanded in such a great way that we've learned so much. And I've learned from others as well. I think the diversity, equity, and inclusion work that's happened in our community has been just essential and important and all those things, and you all have been leaders on that. So I've seen that our community benefit from that, really, because that's what it's all about. And what I especially appreciate with our nonprofit sector is that often people think we all tend to talk in silos or work in silos, but what I've seen more and more, especially with this issue, because the only way, again, someone who is trafficked needs housing, needs legal assistance, needs maybe healthcare, maybe they need a roof over their head with their children, maybe they need transportation or education. All these are these are things that the only way we can, as I said, do the work is in partnership. So we've been able to really understand more about the human services community, and we've seen it grow, and all the work that's been done really throughout the pandemic of thoughtful connection, I would say. That's what I've seen. Very thoughtful, deliberate, important connections. And that's how I've seen the nonprofit community do that, get out of its silos and being more inclusive. We're doing a training coming up for 211 Big Bend, and we have a training also this month in May, on May 20th. Just wanted to highlight that for you as well. This is a training, and it might sound really technically legal and legalistic and all that. It's about restitution, and restitution is really about restoring someone who's been harmed in either the civil or criminal side. So we have two national experts coming in, but the lived experience expert is going to be a man who was trafficked as a teen. He was sex trafficked as a teen, and he has gone through both a civil and criminal case. And the Human Trafficking Legal Center's head, Martina Vandenberg, is going to also speak about how what Jose went through, and he'll talk about how important the idea of restitution is. I would just love it if everybody would put like 1 o'clock on the third Friday of every month down, because we have a new topic that crosses boundaries. After that, we're going to talk about sextortion, which is a tool that traffickers use to mostly sex traffic youth. We're going to have another one on looking at refugees, and how it is. You probably have heard that Afghan refugees have been resettling in our area. We're going to have a program on the intersection of human trafficking and refugee resettlement. So every third Friday, if you go on surviveandthriveadvocacy.org, sign up for our newsletter, you're going to get information about all these incredible, wonderful training opportunities. And we try to make them different every time, so you're not hearing the same stuff.